Hello, fellow toolboxers. Welcome to episode number 337 with a friend of mine, good friend now, Bridgette Bennett. You might have seen her at the ALA conference, and she was on a panel with me, and she did a really great job. And I've seen her on multiple panels in Las Vegas a couple years back. The story is amazing. I'm like, I have to have her on to share her experience and her inspiration and everything. So before we get started, obviously nothing intended as individual legal guidance. I don't think we're going to go into the law in this interview, but also, we have a special form I give out to our clients in our course in our cases for the I-693. It's a medical checkout form, and doctors make a lot of mistakes. So we made a PDF as one page that explains to the client what to ask for with the doctor, all this kind of stuff. I'm sharing it for community members in our Circle That Is So community page. If you want to get involved with that, you're an immigration lawyer, email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. And I'll give you a white labeled version so you can put your own firm info on there. We're going to be publishing more and more content like this that you use for your own firm. So hit me up on that. And if you're interested in learning the marriage immigration and O1s, you're getting involved in immigration law from another field, or you want to get better at what you're doing, we have the course for you that handles both of those. It's a good breakdown of top immigration lawyers talking about that stuff. Just email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com and we give more information about that. But without further ado, let's get Bridgette online. Good to see you. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So let's talk about your background. Could you tell us where you're located and then kind of a tour of how you got into immigration law?
Sure. So I am from the most beautiful island in the Caribbean, Jamaica, of course. Immigrated to the US when I was about 9 years old, and I married a Jamaican guy that I met in college. He was a big DJ back in the day, and he actually entered the US on a P3 visa. And been together for the last 26 years. And the thing is, when he came, he overstayed his visa and he bought some fake papers that ended up not going so well. So for about 10 years, about three different immigration lawyers, 30 grand just in legal fees, not counting the government filing fees, and ending up in removal proceedings. That's how I got into immigration. Based on that experience, I actually had a very nice job in corporate America. I was happy. We just bought a house, had two kids, so life was comfortable. But I feel like going through that trauma of getting my husband from undocumented to documented was really kind of destiny and why I'm here now.
And it really is trauma when you think about our clients who are going through this, whether it's even a benefit, but especially removal when you have a family. Essentially, it's like having like a disease and going through surgery and not knowing if it's going to go well or not. It's probably a
Yeah.
horrible experience to have to endure.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I mean, we talk about the hardship that you would face if the family member is separated. I've literally lived that. Heart
Yeah.
palpitations, sleepless nights, the anxiety, been there. So, it's something that a story I tell the clients, and it's really why I'm doing it, because I don't want people to experience that American nightmare. I
Yeah.
want them to experience the American dream.
And so when you had success there, how soon afterward did you launch your own practice, and how did that develop to create a practice from scratch?
So I was not the attorney who saved my husband. So let's clear that up. I was in law school. So after when he was placed in removal, I decided quit my job, go to law school full time. And we definitely had a really good final attorney who got the case termed out, and we had a 601 waiver in court, which was great for the fraud. So um, I was in law school from 2008 to 2011, and my husband's case was completed in 2010. So it's not been that long, but he
Yeah.
is a US citizen, and we've gone through the whole gamut of what this whole journey is about.
How are you studying your 1L year when you have all this going on at the same
Oh
time?
my God. Well, you know what? A friend of mine, I didn't tell her until things were looking good. And she's like, I can't, you've never had a grumpy look. You were always smiling and having peace. And I really believe that came from my faith and just believing at the end of the day, we're going to get to where we need to be. And at the end of the day, I do believe in justice.
Yeah. Well, that's it really. That's I love to make a podcast just talk about the faith aspect of it more and more as I'm seeing the insanity of the world. So I definitely feel you on that. It's where it all comes from. So
Mhm.
you graduate law school, and at that point you're going to attempt to be an immigration lawyer. You knew that that was going to be what you
Oh,
do.
I knew that's what I wanted to do.
And
Yeah.
did you work for someone that does immigration once you graduated, or did you just put your shingles up and you just jumped
Nope.
into it?
So during law school, remember I came from corporate America, so I was making pretty good money. But when I was in law school full time, I was not making any money.
And did you
And
have kids at the time too?
oh yeah, when
Oh
I
boy.
started law school, my kids were what, 2 and 4 or something
Oh boy.
crazy, 4 and 6, something like that. And his income was sporadic because he's an entertainer, and in removal proceedings. So it was a little bit crazy. And so after law school, I was like, I need a job. I don't like being broke. And I really wanted a job. I wanted stability, but that wasn't in the cards. It was at the end of the recession or coming towards the end of the
Yeah.
recession. No one was really hiring. I even remember, applying as a paralegal at like Hyatt hotels or something and could
Yeah.
not get a job. So, with that being said, I had to go out there and set up my own shop. And that's what I did. So, I never worked for anyone. I knew the vision of what I wanted to do. Um, and I just had to do it on my own.
What was that vision?
I didn't want people to experience the trauma of working with certain immigration attorneys or going through the process. So I really came from a place of compassion and really understanding what the clients go through. And I wanted to create a better experience for the clients.
Interesting. I kind of had the same vision mindset, and I mean, thankfully, it wasn't as a harsh a circumstance to come
Mm.
under. But you always go to doctors, and even for like stuff that's not like a dangerous kind of thing, but they'll put you in a room and they say hi, and a nurse comes and handles it, and the doctor just sends a bill, and you're like, wait, I didn't even see the doctor, and that always annoyed me. So when I create a professional experience from as a law firm, like I don't want to be that the case of just like you see a lawyer, you send them a check, and then who knows what's going on, or if they come see you, or if they get their professional experience involved in there. I'm like, that's definitely something I don't want to do. So a lot of it comes from personal experiences, how you want to run if you're deep enough like that to really make a practice that matches who you are.
Yeah. And, besides the service aspect that you just described, I also wanted to make sure that I framed people's expectations, right? So there are people
Yeah.
that come in the door and they want you to help, and this case is not a good case. There are a lot of issues. I feel like those things were not dealt with for us up front. So I felt deceived
Mm,
after spending thousands and thousands of dollars. And so for me, it's always listen, we can help you, we can't help you, or we can help you. Here is the list of challenges that we're going to
yeah.
encounter. So I always like that the clients are on the same page with us going in. So their expectation is at the same level of where we are.
I mean, I've seen that bad end of that where they just say, "Okay, we got just pay the money, everything's okay, okay." They just want to close the deal. It's a sales process rather than an education process for the client to give a realistic perspective.
Exactly.
Wow, what a nightmare! But it's one of those things in the world. What's nightmare becomes a dream. It goes turned it around. So you started your own firm. How did you even? I mean, just the business aspect of knowing how to start a firm is a headache, and then there's the marketing aspect of like just getting people to come in. We you did a great job on our panel. If people did had the recordings of the AILA conference, is the very last panel of the whole thing, but it was well received, and I got emails from people saying they liked the panel a lot too. So it's definitely worth listening to. But how did you How did you get the first people in the door?
So I had no money. Like I said, when I started, I didn't have a business plan, number one. I had no money. All I knew, I wanted to help people. That's literally all it took for me to open my doors. And in terms of marketing, I knew I had to get out there. I knew I was a people person. I couldn't do billboards. I had no website. I had nothing,
Yeah.
but I knew myself. And I just did a lot of free seminars. So we'd go to daycare centers, schools, churches. We did a lot of churches on the weekends. We went where the people were.
Hmm.
And I tell you, those initial seminars that first year fed me for years. That's where we got all of our clients.
Nice.
And, my personal Rolodex, I knew people from New York, I knew people from Florida, from DC, from Connecticut, all like I just let everyone know, hey, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it. So you just start where you are. And we're now evolving into more kind of sophisticated marketing, but just start with who you are, be yourself. And that's always been my biggest advice for a business owner: know thyself. So if you know you're not a people person, maybe starting with all the Google stuff and where you're not like tense and nervous in front of people where you don't necessarily like that, just do what is your strongest point.
You
And
know,
that's how we got started.
what did happen for me is like I bought into this idea of like because we're getting all these leads and like it was getting overwhelming. So I had all these systems of responding through automations and this and that. I spent so much time and money on that, and then our conversion rate just was going down. And just got back on the
Mm,
phone, just calling people when they say, "Hey, like I have a minute on the phone. What's your biggest worry?" And I'm just good at relieving people of worries, and then everything goes back to normal. I realized you got to go back to basics, what you're best at, and all the
mhm.
what they sell you on all this. It might work for some people or some practices or some, but like for me, I just got on the phone, people real quick, talk with them, and then tell them what I see immediately issues, and then schedule a paid consultation. That's been like the best conversion technique. And also another thing that you mentioned about the Rolodex. At the conference, I don't do detained cases, but at the conference, I met a really good attorney here locally who does just focuses on that. And he's building his business. So there's always a struggle of wanting more clients, all that kind of stuff. And he's has so much overhead to try to get leads. And right at the conference, someone emailed me about it. Hey, and I just referred to him, and he got the case. And then a couple, however long it's been, a month or two passed by. People are contacting about detained cases, but I kind of forgot about him. But he texted me and he's like, "Hey, by the way, we closed that case that you had sent me. Thank you." And right after text me, I got an email saying, "Oh, I got a detained case," and I referred that again to him too. So being up in front of my head, even though I knew he's there, but I'm so busy with other stuff. Someone says detained, I'm like, I can't help you. Next, I go to next thing. But like it's like for your newsletter, if you have a newsletter, your firm, add all your family members to it, every friend and family so you constantly remember that you do immigration law because they'll forget. Not that they're have bad intent, they'll forget.
Yeah, I love that. It's everyone, everyone gets that email, that message.
Yeah. And if they're on your Instagram page, they'll see you too. Just remind them that you do immigration law because people forget this stuff. They have so many stuff in their mind. So you developed the practice. Now, what kind of cases do you handle? Is it full service or how does it look?
We are full service. So when I first started, we focused exclusively on removal, humanitarian, and family. However, in 2020, I purchased a business immigration law firm. So we are able to pretty much offer the full gamut of immigration services now.
Wonderful. And in addition to the chaos of having a full service immigration law firm, I think you have a cafe as well.
Yes, and a commercial real estate company. So I am one of those serial entrepreneurs.
Uh-huh.
So I've worked really hard to kind of land myself as the CEO of the firm. So I don't practice as much. I'm more about the vision of the firm, where we're going to be in the next 3 to 10 years, working on big deals. But I also have a lot of interest in my community. So I love real estate. So I was able to build the first two-story building downtown in my town.
Wow.
And it's an amazing accomplishment that took 7 years, but I never gave up. And within that building, I now created a space for the Reggae Cafe, which is a cultural space. It's a space where I
Mhm.
want people to come in and feel the vibe of one love. We live in a community or a time where hate is spawned in so many different ways, and I wanted to create a place where people can just come in, have some great coffee, and have good company and good vibes. So those are the things that I'm kind of interested in: culture, um, real estate, and the law. So
And there's a theme of perseverance in the whole story that you're telling me. It's just like you hit these walls, but you break through them and you just keep going. You don't let that bring you down. It really is like I'm 40 now, so I look back. It's kind of like it's a long game. You just have to persevere and to get the other side to get the win.
yeah, and that's like immigration, right? Persevering for however long it takes to get to the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, you probably get this, how long is my case or how long is this? People
Ah,
constantly ask, how much is I'm like, we don't really know how long this is gonna take 'cause it's immigration, but you just gotta endure and we'll get to the end.
exactly, exactly.
So what you talked about like, long-term plans and stuff. What is like a 5-year plan that you could share that you have with regard to your practice?
So I want to create a practice that supports entrepreneurial lawyers. So, everyone basically in the firm had been generalists. So we are building four different distinct divisions with their own P&Ls. So we'll have a fully functioning family, business, litigation, and humanitarian. So those are our four departments. So we're going to have like a managing attorney, they'll have their own associates, paralegals, assistants, and we'll repeat that for all four. So that's what we're going towards right now. We have two out of the four departments, but this summer we'll bring on a third kind of managing attorney for another division. So probably within another year or so, we'll have four functioning individual divisions where the managing attorney, who will be in a partnership track, will have responsibility for their division.
Wonderful. Yeah, if you could outline that and sell as a course because I had that plan when I first started my firm, and then just the firm was too busy. I got caught up and I put that away. But now, as I'm building up again, I'm like, yeah, having distinct branches and have the partnership track for managing those, and have you know, have a connection to it where it's not just employees. Yeah, the partnership track feeds into that's perfect. Where they're individual firms really operating separate from each other, so they have to have their own budget. It's so important. So to make sure other areas are not subsidizing it, you can handle it on your own and survive.
Yeah, so it's been a learning process, I've had the vision for a couple of years and we're finally seeing it come to fruition. So I'll definitely take notes and share them.
Thanks. Are you guys fully remote, partial remote, or how is it? Because you have office space as well. Does everyone come in the office?
It's flexible. So because I have this big, beautiful building, I'm like, damn it, everybody coming into the office. But it just doesn't work like that. So the majority of people, for example, our paralegals are heavily in office, but our attorneys, they mostly live in Orlando, which is 45 minutes to an hour away. So they come in a couple times a week, very flexible. And we do have three staff members who work from the Philippines, so they're international, and that's been working well, doing assistant type work.
Yeah, that's the new. I mean, it's not new, but it's the main thing for law firms is having this international presence. Makes more and more sense. The problem I have the Philippines, a little bit of time zone comes an issue, but I have an admin staff there right now who's doing really well. And sometimes they kind of adjust their sleep schedule accordingly to make it just faster, so it's not much delay.
Yeah, so mine, they all said they were used to working overnight shifts, so they had no problems
Yeah.
working the overnight shift.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Got a chance. I got to share who you are with the community. People already know you, but like my audience as well. Those who don't, if people want to reach out to get to know more about you or whatever it is, what's the best way for them to do that?
Definitely my email blows up, so I won't even give my email, but follow me on Facebook or Instagram. It's Bridgette M. Bennett. That's personal, and then Bennett Law Center. And that's what you have for both Instagram and Facebook.
Wonderful. Thanks again. It was good seeing you.
Good to see you, John. Take care.
Thank you.